Hey everybody. So today we are going on to pages. Pages in WordPress are a little bit more static than a post. They're meant to be something where you have a hard link to it. It's going to be something that's on your site all the time. There are three pages that we are going to create. We're going to create an about page with our band's bio and a photo. We are going to create our shows page, which will use the GigPress shortcodes. And then we are going to create our contact form, which is going to use the Jetpack plugin contact form. So to create pages, come over here on the left, and we are just going to hit Add New. The first one we are going to create is our About page. You'll likely see this pop up your first time you come to edit a post. This is a new thing with WordPress. If you want to write in a distraction-free way where it uses most of the screen, you can click that, and as you can see, the rest of the user interface kind of disappears to let you focus. So we'll give this a title of About. And then here, we have two options here. One, we can type in, this is our bio. We can fill in all the information here. If you're typing in here, that's really easy to do. If you happen to be copying and pasting a bio that you have living somewhere else, what I recommend is not copying and pasting from something like Microsoft Word. There can be some weird formatting issues when you do that. The best thing to do is to copy and paste your bio first into what is called a plain text editor, and I'll explain that in a second, and then we're going to copy it from there into WordPress. What that does is it strips all of the formatting that might have been put in there by Word or whatever other word processor you may have used, and just have the plain text. What that does then is allows WordPress to take over all the formatting, and that'll make it look a lot nicer on your site. Now, the plain text editor that I prefer to use is a program called Sublime Text. This is available for free. It's a great little editor. A lot of people use this editor. It's very well supported. The current version is on version number 3. Very simple editor, and when you have it installed, this is how it looks. And you can see here, I've already copy and pasted our bio into this so you can see what it looks like. As you can see, this is very plain. An editor like this does not have any concept of bold or italics or paragraphs or anything like that. All it understands is simple text, which is great for what we call sanitizing any kind of text for placement on the web. So I've pasted in here our bio, and we are going to select all of this now, come back over to WordPress, and we are going to just paste it in. As you can see, it pasted in kind of WordPress's styling, and it looks pretty darn good. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're also going to add a photo. So this will be our first experience with dealing with images in WordPress. I like to put the photo for the bio in the upper left with the text kind of wrapped around it. So I'm going to click here right at the first character. Wherever the cursor is where the picture will get placed. You could use the featured image as well. That displays a little differently on the post, and we'll look at both ways of doing it. I chose the first way I'm going to show you, which is inserting it directly into the post for the purposes of the Miserables site. But there are two ways to do this, and you can pick which one you feel looks better for you. So we're going to click this Add Media button. Now, when we come to Add Media, we're taken to our media library in WordPress. So this is actually one of the nice features that they've really worked on a lot in the past couple of years with WordPress to make more efficient. We don't have anything in our actual library yet, so we're going to upload a file. Now you'll notice here there's a maximum upload file size of 2 megabytes. There are ways to change that. You'll have to consult with whoever is hosting your website, but they can provide you instructions if you really do need larger uploads. It is possible to do. Typically, you don't want them to be too large, though, but 2 megabytes is pretty small. If we were to be uploading, actual audio files, so for example, for my podcast, I had to change this because the files are pretty often more like 50 or 60 megabytes. So I had to up the amount that I could upload to something like 100 megabytes per file. You have to do that with a grain of salt, though, because again, this is a little bit of another security protection where if your web server sees anything bigger than the limit coming in, it just kind of rejects it. Otherwise, it'll accept the data. You got to deal with it. That's something that somebody being very malicious could take advantage of. But again, if you need more than 2 megabytes, then you can consult with your server. However, if all you're worried about is images, which is all we're going to worry about here, 2 megabytes is a pretty good amount of data, especially if it's just an image that you expect to display on a web page. If you upload something that has more than that and you're expecting somebody's browser to download, it's going to be really slow. Generally, you want to be kind of conservative about how much data you expect somebody to download, especially with mobile devices and data limits and all that kind of stuff. So here we're going to pick a photo, which if I come to my downloads here, I believe I have the band photo right here. Okay, so this is a new picture we took of the band, and I'm going to hit choose. After I hit choose, it's going to upload the photo. Now it's in our media library. We can change some information over here to the right if we want. We can give it a title, so we'll call this, let's just take it at Liars Club 3/19/2015. I'm not going to give it a caption. Alternate text, a lot of times I just copy the title into here. Basically, alternate text is what shows if the image for some reason fails to load. I think screen readers might use that. If they're actually reading kind of the web page, they might actually pull that. We can give it a description if we want, but I don't get into that much detail in my WordPress media library. Okay, so now we're also going to pick how we want this to show. Like I said, I want this to show on the left. We're going to link to, now this is interesting, you can have it linked to the media file, to an attachment page, to a custom URL, or to none. And that's where it takes someone when they actually click on the picture. Typically, I prefer that it go to the attachment page. So I'll select that. And then for the size, I'm going to stick with medium. This isn't a big picture to begin with, but medium is fine. That's 300 pixels wide, which is not very big, but not too small to where you can't make out what the picture's of. So we click this and hit Insert into Post, and there you go. Our picture is now right there, and it looks pretty good. So we're going to save this draft here. WordPress does auto-save now, but when I'm kind of done, I prefer to give it a hard save. The auto-save they work a little bit differently. And now we're actually going to take a look at what this looks like. So I'm going to click Preview here. You'll notice a new tab opens up, and we can see our About page. So there is our About page. I know that the rest of the site isn't styled yet. We're going to get to that later. We're working with the basics here. But here's our About page, and it looks pretty good. You'll notice that we have an edit link here. If you're logged in and you're the administrator, you can edit right from there. But let's take a look now. Let's see what happens if instead of putting the picture here, which to get rid of this, I can just click it and click this little X here, and that'll get rid of the photo. So the photo is now gone. And I'm going to hit Set Featured Image. Now our picture is already there, so we don't have to upload it again. So I'm going to select it and hit Set Featured Image. And then I'm going to save this again. And then I'm going to hit Preview and see what we get. And so what we get, unfortunately this picture is not big enough. But what we get is a picture that shows up at the very top of the page. Now if this picture was wide enough, it would probably be better. So let's go grab a photo that would be wide enough for this. What we'll do is we'll go to the actual miserable site. We'll go to photos here. And there's a couple of funny photos. Let's say, yeah, these are all pretty big in size, so let's find a good one here. Let's say we want this to be the photo that shows up. So I'm going to save this. That looks like it's a pretty good size to work. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to remove this featured image, hit set again, and I'm going to upload my new one, which was this right here. And that's all good. And yeah, this is a much larger file. You can see a much larger image. So this should look pretty good. So if I do that and I hit save draft, now I'm going to hit preview again. This is what we would now have. So this actually, it looks pretty good, to be perfectly honest. And as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking I might even change the way that we have this on the Miserables website once we get a better picture. That actually looks pretty darn good. So I'm going to leave that. I'm actually going to leave it like this. This is one of those things where, again, play around with things. You just doesn't have to turn out exactly like the site that I worked on. If you find little things that you want to change, always go for it. So that looks pretty good. So that completes our about page. Now I only had that as a draft. So if I look at my list of pages, you're going to see right now that about is a draft. Right from here we can publish it. I usually don't do that though. That's a bummer. So again, I'm running on a development machine here. Sorry about that. Those things might happen. But here's our about page right here. So everything looks pretty good. We are going to publish this. And it looks like something unfortunately may have gone down. Yep. And yep. I must have closed something. I apologize for that. Give me 1 second here. That all, I know, kind of looked technical. I might trim that out of the video. So coming back, sorry about that little technical thing. We are going to publish the page that we created. So we go to our pages here, go to our about page. Currently it's a draft, but we are going to publish this. Okay. Now it's published, so we'll be able to use this once we create our menu as an actual page. So let's add now our GigPress page. This is going to be our shows page. So we're going to call it shows. Now, the way that I like to do this is I like to have, again, just one page that shows both my upcoming and then my past shows below that. So to do this, I'm going to click this right here, this toolbar toggle. This gives us a little bit more features for the editor. And I'm going to use this heading, and I'm going to say upcoming shows. And then below this, I want my upcoming shows to appear. So this is where I'm going to put my GigPress shortcode. The GigPress shortcode is just GigPress shows. And if I do that, and I hit this preview button, you'll see that show that we created in the previous segment about GigPress is now shown on this page right under our upcoming shows section, which is great. These links here at the bottom are the RSS feed and the calendar feed that we talked about. Everything looks pretty darn good right now. So we're going to close that. And then we are going to add our past shows. So this is a little bit different. You can, again, read the GigPress documentation on this. But we are going to say, oops, I'm sorry. I want to select this and say past shows. And then we are going to type in GigPress shows, and then we're going to put scope equals past. So that is kind of a parameter for the GigPress shows shortcode. Let's take a look and make sure that worked. So you can see that worked. We don't have any past shows in our database. So instead of showing the list of past shows, it's showing that filler text that we can go ahead and change in the settings if we want. So that's it. That gets your shows page set up. Really straightforward. Those are the only things you need. You'll probably never have to touch or edit this again. It'll just kind of live here like it is. So we're going to publish this page by clicking right here. All right, we're going to add one more page here. This is going to be our contact page. So we have Jetpack with the contact form module installed. So you'll notice right here, we have an add contact form button. I just usually use what's here, except sometimes I do like to remove this, this website one. I don't feel like people really ever fill that in, or that I even want them to fill it in, because you have no idea what they're going to put there for you to go to. If you want to remove a field, you can just click this little minus button and it's gone. So I'm just going to show name, email, comment. I can add a new field if I want. So if you want to collect more information from your users, you can do that. You'll also want to come to this email notifications, and you want to specify what email address you're going to receive your emails at. I'm not going to put in a real email address here right now in the video, but if you have test@test.com, you would put that email in here, and then you can give it a subject line. So you might want to say something along the lines of banned contact form submission. Okay, and we have this and this look good. Save and add this form to my post. And now you'll notice what WordPress has done is it's put in its own shortcodes for you. It's kind of built this page for you. And if we click preview, there's our contact page, and we have a nice, very clean looking contact form here. Name, email, and comment, and then somebody can click on submit. This will submit it to your website, and then you will receive an email notification about the submission. Now that submission shows up under the feedback section. If you click this feedback link on the left, you'll have a list of any submission that's been sent to your page. We'll actually do that in just a second. One thing I want to do though is I'm just going to change this email address. I'm not even going to send notifications right now, so I'm just going to get rid of this. And I'm going to actually publish this just outright. And I'm going to click preview changes here. Here's my form. I'm going to say Joe and test.test.com, and this is a comment, and then hit submit. There you go. So the message has been sent. That's the very simple notification that the user will get when it's all done, but pretty clean. We'll close this, and I've already published my page, so I'm okay leaving this. If I click on this feedback link, there's my comment right there. So this gives me the information that I need to be able to reach back out to that person. I can mark it as spam, or I could just trash it if I'm done with it and don't want to see it anymore. So those are the 3 pages that we needed to create for our site. If you have other pages you want to create, again, feel free to do it. You may have some other information that you want to display on your site. But anytime it's kind of a static page, it's not something that kind of, lives a short period of time or anything. It's a static piece of information that you want a hard link to in your menu system. I would make a page, not a post or anything else. You want that to be a page. So again, thanks for everybody that's been following along with this. Again, find me on Twitter, comment section, anywhere if you have questions. feel free to ask, and I will do my best to help you out. Thanks a lot.